welcome to Pure Yoga. We're going to be doing a Vinyasa flow here, and we're going to be working on a few plank variations, so side plank, full plank and reverse plank, and that's what's coming in between the 6 different poses that we're doing on both left and right side. The 6 different poses will all come at once in the first round, and then we'll be taking 2 off at a time. So let's start in child's pose. So bringing our big toes together, knees apart, sit bones back towards the heels as close as you can bring them, and then start to walk the hands forward towards the front of the mat and sink the chest to the floor, forehead to the mat, and just take a moment in child's pose just to bring yourself present for these next 45-minute-ish practice. It may go over slightly, it may be under slightly, but that's roughly around the amount of time I'm going to be taking. So breathe into that lower back. Start to send the breath nice and low into the back, feeling the expansion of the back on the inhale. And then feeling everything contract on the exhale. Also the extension and expansion of the belly on the inhale. And the contraction back on the exhale. Maybe think about those rib cages, side rib, back rib, front ribs. Expanding on the inhale, stretching those intercostal muscles as you breathe in. And on your exhale, everything contracting to squeeze the air back out of the lungs. Notice how the collarbones can grow and expand in length and width as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, everything draws back together to squeeze everything back out. Just concentrate on that breath for a couple of moments. Just taking long, deep breaths in and long breaths out. Maybe using the nose if you can to switch into that Ujjayi breathing with that slight restriction at the back of the throat. Keep breathing normally, but bring your focus to the body now, thinking about the fingertips down to the toe tips. Just checking in with how your body feels. A little reminder of any injuries or any tight spots, knowing to look after them throughout the practice. Your next breath in, make your way up onto your hands and knees. Bringing the shoulders over the heel of the hands, the knees underneath the hips, tops of the feet flat on the floor. Then walk the hands just 2 handprints further forward. And then start to lower the hips towards the heel of the hands, but bringing them to a hover. Let the shoulders relax down towards those hips. And we're taking hip circles, so taking it across to the left, back towards the heels, over to the right, and back to the heel of the hands. Take that again in that direction, over to the left, back to the heels, over to the right, back to the heel of the hands. Opposite direction, this time over to the right to start, back to the heels, over to the left, back to the heel of the hands. One more in that direction. So working mobility through the shoulders and the hips as you move the torso around in this space. When you get back forward to the front of the mat, just let the hips drop down, bring the elbows to the floor, walk the hands slightly forward, just to find yourself in Sphinx pose. Just taking a baby back bend here, feeling yourself pushing into the tops of the feet to lift the kneecaps away from the floor. We're engaging through those upper thighs to straighten those legs. Really push into the toe mounts of the big toes, through to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th. Then release the activation from the legs. Bring the chest down towards the floor. Bring the hands down by the sides of the chest. Tuck under with the toes. Bring the chest back towards the thighs. Then push into the hands, push into the feet as you lift up with the hips to start your first down dog of the practice. Maybe have a paddle of the feet as you arrive here. So those hamstrings, those calves and Achilles can get used to that stretch rather than going straight into stretch and then reacting in a fight and flight mode, contracting and maybe pulling a muscle. The more you let those hamstrings, calves and Achilles know you're going to be stretching them first by a little bit of dynamic movement, the more they respond to the stretch. If you're happy then to bring those heels to a still position, they don't have to reach the floor. Maybe soften the knees if the lower back is starting to arch too much. Push that chest back towards the thighs to get that full flexion through the shoulders. 3 vinyasas from here. I'll take it from the easiest one through to the hardest. Breath in, forward to plank. Breath out, drop the knees, untuck the toes, turn the creases of the elbows, release down towards the mat. Push into the hands, little baby cobra. Release the chest back down, tuck under with the toes, bring the chest back to the thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips, squeeze the heels back. Option 1 you can stick with, or option 2 coming with me, or if you have your own option of vinyasa, feel free to go with that. Forward to plank, inhale. Turn the creases of the elbows, release down to the floor, straight body. Untuck the toes, push into the hands and lift up with the chest. Release that chest back down, tuck under with the toes, bring those chests back to the thighs. Pushing into the hands, pushing into the feet, and you lift up the hips as you squeeze the heels back. Option 1, 2, or coming with me, option 3, come forward to a plank on the inhale. Turn the creases of the elbows forward, release to a hover with a straight, long body. Roll over the toes, lift up the chest, thighs stay away. Taking it straight back to down dog from here with straight legs, or bring chest back to thighs, your vinyasa choice. So a little sequence of plank from here. Forward to plank and hold it in plank for 5, 4, pushing that chest away, 3, softening the elbows, 2, and 1. Roll over onto your right side, left foot in front of the right, and reach your left hand up to the ceiling and hold it here for 5. You can drop that right knee if you wish. 4, 3, keep the hips high. 2, 1. Step your right foot in front of the left, bring your hip down to the mat, turn yourself to the back of the mat, reach both hands up to the ceiling, straight back, tall through the crown. And on your out breath, fold over those legs, bringing the hands to wherever they reach. Breathe in, elongate. Breathe out and fold. Using abdominal strength. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Walk the hands back up towards the top of the legs. Bring the hands behind you, either fingertips pointing out if the wrists are tight, or fingertips pointing in if not. Push into the heels. Lift up with the hips, push into the heels, raise the gaze, then point the toes. Holding it in reverse plank for 5. Squeeze that bum. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the hips back down. Turn to your right side body. Bring your left foot in front of the right. Lift up the hips to find side plank. Holding side plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your left hand down, find full plank. Just hold it for a breath in full plank, find your proper alignment, and then take a vinyasa of your choice. Option 1, 2, or 3, drop the knees, or straight bodies to the floor, or straight bodies to a hover. Finish off your vinyasa choice, either baby cobra or a full upward facing dog. Then either chest back to thighs or rolling straight over the toes, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. First round of 6. Breath in, raise that right leg. Breath out, keep the hips high, bring the knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands as you step your right foot through. Left hand stays down as you raise the right hand up to the ceiling and find a rotation to the right side of the room. Keep pushing that left heel back to straighten that left leg. Try and stack the right shoulder on top of the left. Bring your right hand then back to the hip, your left hand slightly in front of your right foot. Step onto your right leg as you lift your left leg up to hip high. Turn the chest to the right again. Raise the right hand up to the ceiling again. Maybe gaze up to that thumb, taking that half moon in reverse. Breathing into this space. You can use a block under that left hand if you wish, if you have blocks available. Then release that left foot back to the floor, bring your right hand back to the mat, drop your left heel internally, wiggle your left arm up and over, straighten both legs. Reach forward and down with the right hand to find triangle pose. Try not to lock out in that right knee, keep a little micro bend. Left shoulder now stacks on top of the right. Reaching up with the fingertips of the left hand, down with the right hand, and energetically pushing into both feet. Then lift the torso back over the hips, take a bend back into your right knee to find your warrior two. Sink the hips nice and low. Push into the outside edge of the left foot and the whole sole of the right foot. Big toe mounts, little toe mounts for grounding through the bases of the feet. Then right forearm onto the right thigh as you reach up and over with the left hand to find side angle stretch. Relax that left shoulder down towards the left hip. Maybe tuck that right shoulder under the left a little more so the chest turns more to the left. Maybe sink those hips a little lower. One more breath here in side angle stretch. We're not taking it into any binds or anything on this practice. Bring both hands down. Walk them around to the center of the mat, to the left side. Toes in front of the heels. Breathe in. Elongate. Breathe out and fold over those thighs. Bringing the forehead or top of the head as close to the floor as you can take it. Walking the hands back towards in between the feet. Or bringing that block underneath the hands if the hands don't reach. Relax the neck. Give that head a nod. Give it a shake. On your breath in, come up to a half lift. Place the hands back in the middle. And then walk the hands back towards the right foot. Bend into your right knee. Step your right foot back to meet the left. Take a vinyasa here. Release down. Hover or drop the knees or all the way to the mat. Lift up through the chest, baby cobra or up dog. Make your way back to down dog. Lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. Next breath in, your left leg lifts. On your breath out, keep your hips high. Bring the knee to the chest. Onto the toes of the back foot as you step your left foot through. Right hand stays down as you reach up with the left hand to find your rotated lunge. Right heel's pushing back to lengthen through that right leg. Space by using the breath and creating elongation. Then bringing your left hand to the hip, let your right hand come further in front of the left toes. Step onto that left leg as you raise the right leg. Turn the chest again to the left, and then maybe reach that left hand back up to the ceiling. Right toes back to the shins, reversing that half moon. Maybe the gaze can be up to those left thumbs. One more breath here. Remember, you can use that block under the right hand. Bring both hands down, step your right foot back, drop your right heel internally. Windmill your right hand up and over and straighten both legs. Reach forward and down with your left hand as your right hand lifts, triangle. Lengthen the left side body. Reach up with the right hand, down with the left hand. Space across the chest. Try not to let those shoulders draw to those ears. Try and squeeze them back to create some space. Little micro bend in that left knee. One more breath here. Then using the muscles in the obliques, lift the torso up, bend into your left knee, warrior two. So both arms are the height of both shoulders. Fingertips lengthening, maybe gazing towards that left hand middle finger. Use a drishti point, a focal point. Then bring your left forearm onto the top of the left thigh. Reach up and over with your right hand, still keeping the turn of the torso to the right side room. Right shoulder stacking on top of the left, and then that right shoulder socket squeezing down towards that right back pocket. Energy through the feet. Then bring both hands down. Walk them around to the right side, toes in front of the heels or just slightly in. Elongate on the in-breath with a half fold, tabletop back. And on your out-breath, fold over those thighs, bringing the hands to just inside of the feet and maybe that head squeezing towards the floor. Next breath in, come up to a half lift. And walk the hands back around towards that left foot. Bring that left foot back to meet the right. And take a vinyasa from here from plank. Releasing down, knees, hover or to the mat. Roll through baby cobra or an up dog. And then take yourself back to down dog, either chest back to thighs or rolling straight over those toes, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. So we're going to take that little plank variation again. So come forward to plank, hold it in plank for 5. Push the chest cavity into the space of the shoulder blades. 4, 3, 2, and 1. This time roll onto your left side, right foot in front of the left. Reach your right hand up to the ceiling, lift the hips. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step your left foot in front of the right. Bring your hip of your left down, turn towards the back of the mat. Reach both hands up to the ceiling. On your out breath, fold over those thighs. Keep that spine long. Bring the hands to wherever they reach. Breathe in, elongate. Breathe out, use the abdominals to fold. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift up the torso, walk the hands behind your body, fingertips in or out. Push into the heels, lift up the hips, and then point the toes. Squeeze the bum, push into those hands. 5, 4, 3, maybe the gaze can go back if the neck's okay. 2, and 1. Release that bum back to the mat, turn onto your left side, right foot in front of the left. Lift up the hips, side plank, facing the right side of the room. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your right hand down, left hand down, find plank and its alignment. And then finish a vinyasa. Knees to the floor, straight bodies to the floor, or hover. Lift up the chest, making your way back to down dog. Lifting the hips, squeezing those heels back. So another round, only with 4 poses this time. On your breath in, right leg lifts. On your breath out, keep the hips high, knee to the chest, toes of the back foot as you step your right foot through. Left hand stays grounded, right hand reaches up to the ceiling, gaze to that thumb, rotated low lunge. Bring that right hand to the hip, left hand slightly in front of the right foot. Step onto your right foot, raise the left leg to hip height. Turn the shoulders, stack right on top of the left. Raise that right hand back up to the ceiling and gaze back to that thumb if the neck allows. Toes of the left foot back to the shin, keeping a soft bend in that standing, balancing leg. Left hand can be on a block or not. Then slowly release that left foot back, right hand down. Drop the left heel down internally, windmill the left arm up and over. Straighten both legs and then reach with the right hand, finding triangle, keeping length along that right side waist. Gazing up to that left thumb. Easy breaths in. Long breaths out. Your next breath in, lift that torso up over the hips. Bend into your right knee, find your warrior 2. Nice strong warriors, crown of the head stacking on top of the tailbone. Lower belly lifting, tailbone tucking under, and your right knee drawing out to that pinky toe edge of the right foot. One more breath here in warrior 2. Relax the shoulders, lengthen the arms. Then windmill the hands down either side of the right foot. Step back to plank And take a vinyasa here of your choice. Turn the creases of the elbows. Release to a hover or to the floor. Roll through, up, lift up the chest, push into those hands. Make your way back to down dog. Lifting the hips, squeezing those heels back. Widen those fingers, give a good grounding into the floor. Squeeze the heels towards the mat as much as possible. Left side, breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, keep the hips high, knee comes to the chest, gaze in between the hands, toes of the back foot as you step the left foot through. Right hand stays down, left hand lifts, gaze up to that left thumb. Left shoulder stacking on top of the right. Try not to let the right hip drop down too much, keep it nice and neutral. Then bring the left hand onto the hip, gaze in front of the left foot, right fingertips forward, lift up the right leg, turn the chest again without dropping that right hip, and reach that left hand back up to the ceiling, finding the half moon reverse. Right toes back to the shins, push the right heel away to straighten that right leg. One more breath here. Then bend into that left knee, drop your right foot back, left hand comes down, drop your right heel internally, right hand reaches up and over, straighten both legs. Then reach forward and down towards that left shin. Up with the right hand to the ceiling. Length across the left side waist, crown in line with the spine. Feeling that left bum cheek tucking under, the right hip turning out. Left shoulder underneath the right. Little micro bend in that left knee. Try not to lock out in the joints. Left toes are pointing forward, right toes to the right edge of the mat. Use those strength of the muscles at the side of the waist to lift the torso back up. Bend into your left knee and find your strong warrior two pose. Think about this lower spine. If it's pinching in the lower back, send your tailbone down, lift your lower belly up, and maybe sink a little lower into those hips. Knee of the left tends to track over the ankle of that left foot, but if it goes a little further forward, that's fine. Remember, when we're walking upstairs, our knees go beyond our ankles, so we need that mobility there. One more breath here. Relax the shoulders, lengthen the arms. Then windmill the hands down either side of that left foot. Step back to plank. Take a vinyasa. Your variation, I'm sticking with the chaturanga, the stronger one of the practice. Lift up the hips, squeeze the heels back, have a nod, have a shake of the head. Taking that plank flow again for the right side, forward to plank. Keep that long alignment. 5, push the heels back, crown forward. 4, 3, engage the belly, engage the thighs. 2, engage the glutes. 1, roll onto your right side, left foot in front of the right, and reach your left hand up to the ceiling. Crown of the head in line with the spine. Holding it here for 5, 4, remember you can drop the right knee if you wish. 3, 2, and 1. Bring your right foot in front of your left foot, drop your right hip down, turn the shoulders, lift up with both arms, and then fold over those thighs, bringing the hands to wherever they reach. Maybe you can interlace the fingers beyond those soles of feet. Breath in elongates, breath out, we fold. For 5, relax the head. 4, 3, maybe gaze to those toe tips. 2, and 1. And lift those shoulders back up over the hips, bring the hands behind the bum, fingertips pointing out or in. Push into the heels, squeeze the bum to lift the hips high, and then point the toes. Try to bring the toes as close to the mat. Gaze can be up or back, holding it in reverse plank for 5, 4, keep pushing into the hands. 3, stabilize the shoulders. 2, and 1, release the bum back down. Bring your left foot in front of the right, bring your right hand down, push into the hips, hand lift the hips, left hand raises, side plank. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your left hand down. Right foot from under the left. Find your proper plank alignment and then take a vinyasa, your choice. I'm using the chaturangas to strengthen my shoulders a little more and my core. Finding your way back to down dog, lifting those hips, squeezing those heels back, having a nod, having a shake of the head. So we have 2 more poses on this side, the first 2 of the whole practice. So it's reverse lunge and reverse half moon. Breath in, raise that right leg. Then bring that knee to the chest, keeping the hips high. Come onto the toes of the back foot as you step your right foot through. It just creates a little space to bring the right foot through. Left hand comes down, right hand reaches up. We gaze up to that thumb. Turn and twist the torso, maybe a little more if you've got that range. But don't let that compensate through the hips and let the hip drop down. Keep it level. Keep the rotation from the thoracic and lumbar spine. 1 more breath in this rotation. Then bring your right hand back to the hip, gaze in front of the toes of the right foot. Left fingertips come forward as you lift that left leg. Bring the left toes back, twist the torso again, and then raise that right hand, maybe gaze up to that thumb. Reverse half moon. Not necessarily a favoured balancing pose, but a very strong transition from that rotation of lunge into this space. So really working the body hard through strength and stability. Bring your right hand down, step your left foot back, step your right foot back to plank. Remember, we're just doing those 2 poses here. And then take a vinyasa of your choice. I'm sticking chaturanga. Remember, the knees down, just take some pressures off the shoulders. Find your way back to down dog. Lifting up of the hips and a squeeze of the heels back. Ready to take those 2 poses on your left side. Breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, bring that knee to the chest, keeping the hips high. Come onto the toes of the back foot. You've created space to step that left foot through. Right hand stays down as your left hand lifts and we twist the waist, turn the shoulders, gaze to that left thumb. Still keeping that head in line with that long spine. Long line from the right heel to the crown of the head. Use the engagement of the upper thighs to straighten that right leg and the bend into that left knee and contract through those hip flexors, compression in that space. Bring your left hand back to the hip, gaze in front of you, bring your right hand forward slightly, step onto your left foot as you raise the right leg. Turn and twist the torso and then raise that left hand back up to the ceiling. Maybe gaze up to that thumb again, last half moon of this practice. Breathing easy here. Being aware of all those muscles in that left ankle, left foot, left leg. Finding that equilibrium of this balancing pose. Then bring your left hand down, step your right foot back, step your left foot back to meet the right. Your vinyasa choice from here. Nice slow vinyasa. Make every movement intentional. Move with fluidity. Finding our way back to down dog. We have that plank variation now to do with the left side plank, so come forward to your plank position. Squeeze the bum, draw the belly back, push the chest cavity into the space between the shoulders. 5, wide fingers. 4, soft elbows. 3, long head, crown to the front, heels to the back. 2, and 1. Roll on to your left side, right foot in front of the left. Reach your right hand towards the ceiling. Keep those hips high, strong grounding through the left hand for 5, 4, 3, 2, steps in front of the right, we drop the hips down, we turn to the back of the mat, we reach both hands to the ceiling, toes back to the shins. As you fold, using the abdominals to fold you over those legs, maybe interlacing the fingers beyond the soles, or just going as far as you can with those hands. Maybe you're up here, but so long as you feel that stretch down that back chain, you're doing what's required. Engage those upper thighs a little more to push those knees into the mat. 5, 4, breathe into that range of movement. 3, and 2, and 1. Lift the torso up. Bring the hands behind you. Remember, if wrists are tight, turn the hands out. Push into the heels, lift up through the hips, and then point the toes to the mat. Squeeze the bum, raise the gaze. 5, create the space across the chest. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the hips back down. Bring your right foot over the left foot, turn to your left. Push into the heels, lift up the hips. Left hand underneath that left shoulder. Right hand reach into the ceiling. Side plank, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your right hand down, find your alignment of plank. Just hold it there for a breath. And then take a vinyasa. Release down, hover, roll through, up, lift up the chest. Make your way back to down dog. Lifting the hips, squeezing those heels back. So we're going to do all those 6 poses again, but we're just going to flow breath to movement rather than holding any poses. I will give you a little time to transition, as it's not easy to transition. Breath in, your right leg lifts. Breath out, bring the knee to the chest, keep the hips high, come onto the toes, create the space, bring your right foot through. Left hand comes down. As you breathe in, reach up with the right hand. Then bring that right hand to the hip, hands a little further forward of the left. Lift the left leg, push your left heel back, turn the chest, raise the right hand. And then bend into your right knee, bring your right hand down, left foot down, drop your left heel internally. Windmill the left arm up and over, straighten both legs. Then reach forward and down with the right hand as your left hand lifts. Gaze up to that left thumb. Then bend into your right knee, find yourself warrior 2. Shoulders stacked over those hips. Then right forearm, right thigh, left arm up and over, reaching through those fingertips with the left hand. Then bring the hands down, walk them into the centre of the mat, toes in front of the heels. Breathe in, elongate. Breathe out, fold over the hips. Bring those foreheads or tops of the heads towards the floor, hands in the middle of the feet. Breath in, come up to a half lift. Walk all the way back around towards that right foot. Step your right foot back. Take a vinyasa. Release down, hover or floor. Roll through, up, lift up the chest. Find your way back to down dog, lifting up the hips, squeezing of those heels back. Taking one more round, left side. Breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, hips stay high, knee comes to the chest. Come onto the toes of the back foot, create that space. Right hand stays down as your left hand lifts, gaze up to that thumb. Bring your left hand back to the hip, right hand slightly forward as we raise that right leg. Turn the chest, raise that left hand back up to the ceiling. Bend into that left knee, drop your right foot back, left hand comes down. Drop your right heel internally, windmill the right arm up and over. Straighten both legs. Find triangle, left hand to the inside of that left shin, right hand lifts. Take a bend into the left knee, find your warrior 2. Stack that spine. Then left forearm, left thigh as you reach up and over with the right hand, reaching as much as you can with the fingertips. Bring both hands down, walk them into the centre of the mat, toes in front of the heels. Elongate on your inhale and fold on your exhale, bringing the head towards the floor, hands in front between those feet. Next breath in, come up to a half lift. Walk the hands back around towards your left foot. Step back to plank. Release down to the floor or hover. Roll through, up, lift up the chest. Make your way back to down dog. Lifting of the hips and squeezing of the heels back. So the sequence of plank, we're going to do both left and right sides continually. Forward to plank. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll onto your right side. Left foot in front of the right, left hand lifts. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your right foot in front of the left. Drop the hips. Turn to the back of the room. Reach up with both hands. On your out breath, fold from the hips. Bring the hands to the feet, shins, ankles. Breathe in, elongate. Breathe out, fold. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the torso back up. Bring the hands behind the butt. Push into the heels and lift up the hips. Reverse plank, point the toes. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the hips back down. Hook your left foot over the right. Turn to the right. Lift up with the hips. Side plank on your right side. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your left hand down. Step yourself into full plank. Take a vinyasa. Release down, floor or hover. Roll through, up, lift up the chest. Make your way back to down dog. Lifting the hips, squeezing those heels back. So doing the left side, forward to plank. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll onto your left side, plank. Lift the right hand, right foot in front of the left. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Left foot in front of the right. Drop the hips. Turn to the back of the mat. Both legs straight, toes back to the shins. Fold from the hips. Elongate, inhale. Fold again, exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift the torso, bring the hands behind, push into the heels, lift the hips, reverse plank, point the toes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the bum back to the mat. Right foot hooks over the left. Left hand stays grounded. Lift the hips, side plank on your left. Right hand up to the ceiling. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Find full plank. Hold it in full plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take your vinyasa, release to the floor or hover. Roll through, up, lift up the chest. Make your way back to down dog. Lifting of the hips, squeezing of the heels back. Find your way onto your back. See the jump the feet forward, swing the legs around. When you get to seated, arms forward, slowly let that body come all the way down to the floor. Bring the arms out to a T shape. Bring the knees into a bend. Knees stay together, heel toe the feet out to the edges. Let the knees go over to your right side as you gaze to your left. And then maybe bring your right hand onto your right knee.
Maybe bring your left hand down to your left foot and heel toe that left foot towards that left hand. To give a little more stretch through the IT band of the left leg and a little more inner stretch to that inner groin of the right leg. Maybe the gaze is towards that left side room. Feeling that stretch maybe down the front of the left thigh also and into that left hip flexor. Bring both hands back to a T shape, heel toe that left foot back to where it came from. Bring the knees back into the centre, just neutralise the spine first, and then take the knees over to your left, your gaze to your right. Left hand comes onto the left knee to encourage it down. Right hand comes to that right foot, walking the toes towards it. Feeling a little more stretch through that quad, into that IT band on that right thigh, into that hip flexor on the right. Gazing towards the right side of the room. A couple more breaths here before we take ourselves down into relaxation. In relaxation, we're going to do count in for 4, breath out for 8. Knocking and tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system to calm the mind, calm the breath, calm all those muscles, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue. Bring the hands back to T shape, heel toe the right foot back to where it came from. Bring the knees back into centre, just make sure the spine's neutral. Push into the feet, lift the bum away, tuck the tailbone down, and then let that lower spine release to the floor. Heel toe the feet back into the centre. Just for a moment, let the knees drop out to the sides, just to get a stretch on that inner thigh. Try and keep the ribs and the hips tethered as you hold this butterfly pose. Don't let that lower back arch, keep that core engagement. So your choice can be to stay here for relaxation, in which case you let go of the abdominals and let the lower back arch. Or if you wish to come to full Shavasana position, straighten out both legs, bring them mat width apart, let the feet drop out to the side, bring the hands down by the sides of the body. If you're in butterfly pose, maybe bring the hands onto the hips or the belly. If you're in full relaxation, turn the palms up, let the fingers gently curl. Relax the shoulders, maybe have a little turn of the head in one direction, back through the centre, over to the other side, back to the centre. When you've found that comfortable space at the back of the head, close the eyes, relax the jaw, relax the forehead, the cheeks. Just noticing the colours at the back of the eyelids. Then start to bring your focus to the breath. Breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take your natural automatic breathing pattern and a moment to consolidate everything you've just done in your practice, being aware of the body's sensations, being aware of the calmness of the mind if that feels calm, noticing those longer exhales calm that nervous system from a fight and flight to a rest and restore. Starting to wriggle those fingers, starting to wriggle those toes. Maybe bring some movement into the wrists, into the ankles. Maybe if you want to take that full body stretch, stretching the hands up and over the head, stretching through the fingers, the toes, maybe arching into that lower back. And then bringing the hands back up and over, bringing the knees into the chest. Just give those knees a squeeze. Maybe have a rock of the body from side to side. So choice can be to roll over onto one side and take a breath there, or if you're coming with me a little more actively, rocking up and down the spine a couple of times, up to seated once, back down, up to seated twice. I'm going back down. And on the third time, staying seated, find that comfortable seat, keeping the eyes closed if you're on your side, making your way slowly into a seat. Bring the hands on top of the thighs, relax the shoulders, tuck the chin slightly towards the chest. And on your inhale, reach up with the hands, bring the palms together at the top. And then on your exhale, bring the hands to the chest. Just hold it here for a couple of breaths, eyes closed. Just taking a moment here for gratitude for all that's around you, everything that's in your life. Have peace in your thoughts, have peace in your words, have peace in your hearts. From my heart to yours, Namaste.